Hi, thanks for joining us today. This lab filming is for Uniota High School, the chemistry class, and we are going through our Chapter 1 Evidence of a Reaction lab with you. The purpose of this lab is to help you recognize the signs of a chemical reaction. We have 4 major things that happen as chemicals go through their reactions. These reactions take energy and result in different physical properties. The first thing we need to review is the Big 4, or the official terms for evidence of reaction, which is located in the middle of your lab report. The first official term for evidence of a reaction is bubbling. If you see bubbling in a reaction, that signifies a gas formation. 2, if you see a precipitate forming, which in this lab you'll see a color change and precipitate, it means something solid is coming from a chemical reaction. The third evidence is the generation of heat or light, and with these reactions you can have an exothermic reaction, which means heat is generated, or you can have an endothermic reaction, which means the solution is cooled down. And the fourth official term is a color change. So if you know a color change, that signals a chemical reaction. This is just a reminder for those watching this lab that Part 4 immediately follows Part 3. So have your test tube ready to collect the gas in Part 4. Part 1 of this experiment does electrolysis of water. So with the electrolysis, we have this little machine that is filled with a sodium saline solution, okay? It's basically salt water. We have a 9-volt battery that we are connecting to the electrolysis machine. When you add voltage or add electricity to this, you start seeing, especially on the negative side of the battery, you see bubbles forming, okay? And what's happening here is the saline solution is being split into gases, hydrogen and oxygen. Again, with the bubble formation, that is showing that gas is being formed from this reaction. When you're done with observing this part, you can unhook the battery, and we'll move on to step 2. Step 2, you need to obtain a clean test tube, and you are adding 1 pipette full of sodium nitrate. So this is my sodium nitrate, and my pipette for the sodium nitrate, and you are sticking your pipette into the liquid, and then you insert that pipette into your test tube. Then you are to obtain a pipette filled with potassium iodide, so that is my Ki solution here, and you're adding it to the lead nitrate in the test tube. And here's the reaction. Obviously this is a very vivid color change for you, so that is one of our evidence for a chemical reaction. The other reaction, if you look closely at the bottom of this test tube, you'll see that a solid was formed. And as I kind of swirl the test tube, you can see the solid on the sides of the tube. So we have a color change and a precipitate in this reaction. We're moving on to Part 3, which is the reaction between an acid and a metal. Again, have your test tube ready for Part 4. It needs to be ready right away. So with this, Part 3, I'm going to go obtain a piece of metal for this reaction. So a magnesium metal. And then I fold up that piece of metal so that way we have a lot of surface area to deal with this reaction. Then you're adding 1 pipette full of 3 molar hydrochloric acid. So this is a strong acid being added to a metal. So again, you're squeezing your pipette out above the solution. You draw up the solution until the bulb is full. Then you add it. And very quickly you need to grab a new test tube and seal in the gas that's being formed, as you can see with the bubbles. And then Part 4, you're lighting a wood splint, and you add it to the gas, and you get that sound. So that is our procedure for this lab. As you can see through here, we have some heat, we have gas being formed, okay? And again, with our Big 4 official terms for evidence of a reaction that we saw in this lab, you have bubbling, which is a gas formation. You have a precipitate, which is a solid substance being formed we have color changes, and we have heat generations. Thanks for watching.